Can you, similar question I asked for Hunter, Alpha Hunter is, specifically in your portfolio, in a sense, a series of artifacts that you've not talked about now, kind of you'd like to share.
Okay.
Ones that you like or ones that may have scared you.
One thing that scared me and then I ended up liking was this writing project, the monitoring student growth. At first I had a really hard time with it. It was really the longest to do this semester with all the projects. I was really kind of unsure. But once I completed it and was able to see the actual growth that I didn't realize was there before, and to really see how giving more detailed rubrics helped, it was really, I think, beneficial for me to see and to learn. The first, the first assignment, and these were all part of the homework menu, this was the extent of the rubric I gave the students. And the first time I got basically mini reports back, instead of, it was to write a news report on Marbury vs. Madison for the first homework menu. So I got like a mini paper with lots of quotes, and you can see how long that is. Finally, by the last prompt, I had a much more detailed rubric, and this was what I gave them the last time, and I was able to model, and then it gives like a little explanation of each thing exactly, and they were able to use this as an outline, and I got much better results from it, and much more what I was looking for. So that was probably one of the things I at first hated, and then that scared me, but ended up being really beneficial at the end.
I want to see you've got your movie in as well. Thanks. I was just looking at the portfolio. So you put your presentation in off that.
Brandon, I really want to commend your use of differentiated practice. I think it's pretty sophisticated for a teacher at this stage of your growth. So I'm very impressed by that. I like that you've interwoven your blog reflections throughout your presentation, and I'm curious about your use of the blog as a learning space. One of the things that makes it so challenging, I think, is that you have to be purposefully transparent in choosing which things are you going to get really raw about and very real about, and which things do you still just kind of keep quiet and hold in, because there's kind of a publicness about who's reading and what you're sharing and what happens to be there. Could you talk a little bit about your process? How did you choose what you were going to, or did you just go full guns blazing and share everything?
I think I reflected kind of more on what I learned personally, not necessarily what happened with a student or a teacher, because I don't know in the end if that would really help me to grow. So I just really reflected, like the one I showing my biggest challenges of that week, just kind of looking at what areas do I need to grow in, and sometimes maybe like if there was a big event at the school, discussing that. But in general, I try to look at things that would help me to grow in the future, that were more could be generalized to now or later, and didn't deal with one specific instance.
Did you ever find yourself reading previous entries to inform what you were going to write about? Did you ever read back as you were?
Sometimes. I was able to do that in this past couple of weeks, trying to just conclude everything, going through and looking at the Pandapis pond and seeing how I had grown. So it was really neat to look back at what I had done in my blog now that I'm at the end, and I wish I had done that more throughout. But I think in the past week, I went back and read and watched some of what I had said.
Do you see yourself blogging in the future? Or journaling?
Maybe journaling. Yeah. I could see that. The blog was interesting, but I still don't know how to look up other people sometimes. So, but yeah, no. I mean, definitely the reflections were very helpful and made me sit down and think, what can I take from this week, as opposed to just going forward.
Which do you think was your hardest principle for your tasks? When you're trying to pull them together and craft an argument, which one did you struggle the most with?
The one I struggled the most with would, let's see, okay, it's gone. But would be the assessment. And I think because I was with second semester seniors, I would get a lot, like with the homework menu, I would get some students that put a ton of work into it and it looked great. And I would get some students who did it the day before, but or right in class, but they still met the criteria I'd given. So that was really hard for me to learn. How can I just be more specific with what I'm telling them I need from them? So those who put a lot of effort would get the credit. And so it was hard to work with them and get them even to just do it. So, I mean, that was a challenge every day. So I think the assessment, although I tried a lot of different things, was the most challenging to get the students to really participate in. So.
Thanks very much. Cheers.